David Cameron has decided to give his ministers a free vote in the upcoming referendum on Europe. Janan, Ganesh, why did he do it? Was it a position of weakness or strength?
I think it was a capitulation to reality. Lots of Tory MPs will end up voting and campaigning to leave the European Union. To force them to hug a centrally enforced Tory party line would have been practically impossible. And also by doing this, he looks magnanimous, he looks relaxed and more in command of events.
A bit like Harold Wilson in 1975.
Absolutely. And
the Labour Prime Minister at the time.
I mean, I suppose the difference is that now Europe is a slightly more powerful issue within the Tory party than it was within Labour back then. And so it's doubly incumbent on David Cameron compared to Harold Wilson in the 1970s. I really think he had no choice at all. I'm surprised he didn't actually announce this much earlier, maybe a year ago. A lot of speculation has built up, a lot of Tory backbenchers are slightly resentful of the fact that something like this hasn't been stated earlier. But what we saw this week was, I think, absolutely inevitable.
So this is the prologue in the main play, in this drama on Europe, that's going to be featuring, perhaps as one of the biggest stories in 2016, referendum maybe in June or September?
I think ideally he would like June. I think it's more likely to be September, simply because the process of renegotiating our membership, which is underway at the moment, David Cameron touring European capitals, will itself, I think, eat into the spring. And then you've got the May elections, local Scottish, London elections. A lot is happening in the first half of the year, so you may be into the autumn before we have a referendum.
How important is this deal that David Cameron's trying to strike, and will it sway the result of the referendum?
It'll have a marginal impact, I think. I suspect that the British public will end up grudgingly voting to stay almost regardless of the deal.
You're an optimist, aren't you, on this, Janan?
I'm someone who believes that the British public are, if nothing else, risk averse. And when it comes to a referendum on this, the risk is always going to be on the side of leaving. So they'll very grudgingly vote for the status quo. Where the renegotiation really matters is in dealing with Conservative MPs. A lot of them, about a third of them, I think, will vote to leave. Another third of them are committed to stay. And there's this batch of people in the middle who are waiting to see what emerges from the renegotiation before committing. And so it would help him if he did deliver something, especially on access to benefits by migrants exercising free movement.
And I think the big theme that's emerging early this year is the uncertainty. Business and markets beginning to factor in that there is a chance, it may be a slim chance, that Britain leaves. And this is a big deal for investors, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. I mean, what you've seen recently are some of the major banks in their London offices issuing public analyses and putting a percentage number on the probability of this country voting to leave the EU. And I've seen 45% probability, and I think this week 50% probability by one corporation. It's understandably a huge issue for them. There must be investment projects not going ahead or being stalled by a couple of years at the very least because of the uncertainty of whether this country will have uninterrupted access to the internal market by the end of the year. I suspect that the government behind the scenes, and the Treasury in particular, is going out of its way to let business know that actually the risk is not quite as great as that. They'll be pushing very hard for an in-vote when the referendum comes. They'll be pushing hard for a renegotiation.
Right, so I'm going to put you on the spot now, Janan. If you had to sum up David Cameron's message for the referendum in a couple of sentences, not 140 characters, what would it be? And what will it be?
It'll be a repeat of his message in the general election, which is that in a world of uncertainty, the smartest thing to do is stick with the status quo. That's why he's Prime Minister, and that's why I think we'll be in the European Union this time next year.
Janan, Ganesh, thank you so much.